Hello, and welcome to the Unapologetically For Truths podcast with your hosts, Lakeisha Fry and Jessica Bennett. Here at For Truths, we hold space for real conversations with a mission to explore, unpack, and find resolve for topics that impact our communities most. We saved you, our listeners, a seat at the table, and that fourth seat, that offers us all the spiritual guidance from the Most High. To stay in tune with what's true to us, make sure you subscribe to all of our social media channels at Unapologetically For Truths. Now let's get into it. Hello, and welcome back to Unapologetically For Truths. I am Lakeisha Fry. I have Jessica Bennett here, and we are coming to you with a new topic this week. So we're transitioning off of conversating about mental health. You so silly, Jessica. I'm trying not to laugh while watching her.
We're coming in at
And
ourselves.
Jessica.
We're coming in.
So we're coming off of talking about mental health for the last couple of weeks, and now we're going to transition into a topic that is access denied. Now, I'm going to let Jessica go ahead and get us started on this one. So, what comes to mind when you hear access denied, Jessica?
People or things or situation have entered into your life or in your space unwelcome.
Hmm. Now, how does it get into your space unwelcomed?
Unwelcome because when it first initially it seemed like a good thing. It seemed like our relationship was gonna fit. It seemed like we was gonna do business together. It seemed like, you know what I'm saying, you knew the play, that we had the strategy that we was gonna move on whatever endeavor or whatever relationship or whatever thing that we was about or about to do. But as the conversation or the business plan or the community event, whatever the thing may have been, I saw that your access was denied. When you came and you started talking to me about negativity before adventure even got off the ground, or it didn't happen from John, it didn't happen for Paul. So you come in with this energy that I don't have that type of time for. So, when people come in and you give them permission to go a mile and then they take it to 10 miles, you got to stop that. Because when you show up and you show up happy and excited and all the things, and then they just sit there and drain you, and you like, God, every time I'm in that person present, I feel my energy gone. I'm wore out. I don't know. I feel like I done ran a marathon. I done flew a plane. When I'm over it, I'm like, access denied. So not only that, people will come in your life, Dr. Fry, and when you have a plan for and God gave you a vision for what you need to do, and you done made a plan for what you need to do, they come in and tell you why you cannot do it. Or the narcissist, they're gonna tell you why they can do it better. So then they put you in a place where you start doubting yourself. You start overthinking, overanalyzing. Well, maybe I should. But before, when you woke up this morning, you got on your bowed knees to the Holy Spirit, to the God, and you're like, okay, this is my plan. I'm gonna go and get my doctor's degree. I'm gonna go get my master's degree. I'm gonna get whatever. It don't even have to be a degree. You like, look, I'm gonna go here, open up this lawnmower business. Look, I'm gonna get out here and do Uber. I don't care. It's making me money. It's you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. I'm cashing. I'm at the bank. I'm making a drop every day. And then somebody say, "Oh, I thought you was all that." You are all that. That's become, and it wraps up a little bit with our mental health, knowing who you are, knowing who and what you're walking in, and who you are. That's so important. Let me just piggyback and let me slow down because I'm so excited about access denied,
Take your
because
time,
I
girl.
am called
Take your time.
the block queen.
Yes, you are.
I'll block you immediately. It would take me 5 minutes to see what type of time you're on. Okay, go to lunch. The energy, everybody's not like wilding out and crazy like me. I mean, I'm that kind of person. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not like Dr. Fry, where she's just dainty and just, what I'm saying, very tactful and all the things. Sometimes it gets on my nerves, like, But you know, but you
Not always. I'm not always like that.
no, but no. Look, she from New Orleans. She know how to
One.
turn up. She turns up.
You
Okay,
heard
she
me.
know how to turn up. I look. I don't seen. I look.
Let them know.
She from down there. I don't. Let me. Yeah, she
Yes,
from
ma'am.
down there. But
Hmm.
you know, overall, I love it. I love it. But never draining. When I talk to you, Dr. Fry, this going in with our relationship. Never draining. It's always peaceful. It's always motivating. It's like, oh God, there go Dr. Fry. I thought she was on the block list. You know what I'm saying? I'm reviewing before I even answer the phone. I don't have to have that. So you have to understand, and you got to know how much access that you want a person, an individual, you want them to be in your life. And also, you need to know where they need to be in your life.
Hmm.
You know,
Absolutely.
sometimes I have a walking buddy, don't need to be in my business and my personal relationship. You know, it's just because I'm out there walking to exercise. I'm not out here and trying to figure out why my husband's not doing this and why my husband's not doing that. And so when I left my husband this morning, it was good. By the time I went out and worked out with my walking buddy, I was ready to come out. I was ready to come in that house ready to fight because
Mm,
somebody done told me the wrong thing from the outside looking in and not in my house. Access denied. That's all I got to say.
got you. All right. I like that. That's hard to follow. But when I hear access denied, what I think about is protecting my peace. It took me a while to learn this. And this is something that, again, I work with children, and this is something that I try to instill early
Mhm,
on in teenagers and young adults, if the opportunity arises in my own child. If you learn that early on, the amount of stress that you have to deal with, the peer pressure, losing your confidence, some of the struggles that we go through in life will be null and void or
mhm.
diminished because we're not perfect. And I don't expect just because you protect your peace that your life will be perfect,
Right.
but it would be so much more smooth sailing.
Mhm, mhm,
And I like what you said about, you know, when you are with certain people, they get, different access to you. And I truly believe that depending on your relationship in my life depends on the version of me you get.
mhm. Oh.
Now, if we grew up together, you're gonna get, Keisha from NOLA,
Mhm,
and we might be in the streets and we might be hanging out
mhm.
professionally, of course. Just kidding. But if I know you from work and we're just gonna keep it at a professional level where we are only gonna talk about what's necessary.
Mhm,
We may ask me, how's my family? You may ask me about something going on that you may have overheard me mention or someone else who knows me a little better. But I'm still going to keep it at a certain level because the version of me, excuse me, that I allow you to see
mhm,
depends on our relationship.
mhm,
Um, and as you said, Jessica, as you get older, you're going through life, experiences, you learn how to cut that on and off, change it if necessary very quickly. And I do get the feedback from most people that I seem sweet and soft spoken, but I am very blunt. Um, I also know how to speak up for myself.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely.
Confidence is something that I think we all, should have, but it kind of waxes and wanes. Like I may feel more confident one day versus another, but I do have a good amount of confidence to the point where I feel that I don't question my choices and I
Right.
trust myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I feel, what you are offering or what you can bring to my life is either gonna hurt, hinder, derail me, then
Mhm.
absolutely I'm protecting my peace, and so you will be not denied access.
Because I have found out in just talking, because I love to talk. I'm very energetic. And you be thinking that the person that you're talking to have your best interests
Yeah.
in heart. You know what I'm saying? But then I found out with Access talking about this topic that if that person is not whole and healed, they will have you in your head like you going in a circle, like you don't really lost your mind. Because you be thinking like, oh man, I'm on a winning team, I got a winning person, but then they got a double sword in their mouth. They telling you one thing and then going back and telling and what I cannot stand. And I even chastise myself when you tell a half truth, which is a lie, you know. And then you go around this roller coaster with this person. This person, you want them to be in your life, but they talking. They telling you one thing and then they breathe it. It's not like they breathing out, like I really don't want you to win. I really want you to stay low. I really want you to not to excel. They're saying it. But then like you said, we turn around and look at each other like, ain't what you saying, because ain't what you know what I'm saying, your body ain't saying that. Or sometimes people with you as an opportunist.
Oh yeah.
Like what I love about you, I say you meet, but you always are tactful. That makes sense.
It does.
When you're tactful, you have a strategy and a plan to enter in a relationship and to exit. I always have a strategy now in my life to enter in. I very sacred of those relationships that I want very close to me and very close to my heart, because it was a time in my life that I was starting getting like a punching bag. But because I was talking to people and I was talking to individuals, I thought they had my best interest in heart. And then when I look and I had to pull back and I'm like, you're not healed. You're not whole. Because what I'm thinking, I'm looking over my every 5 minutes is something is like a confusion or something that is coming up. And I'm feeling like I got daggers in my back because you studied, you know what I'm saying? You studied shooting your shot and not shooting your shot trying to get up with me, but you shooting your shot. Oh, she got to stay down. Oh, she can't come up. But if you knew who I was and people know who you were, we always about building. We always like, look, you can do anything you put your mind to. And that's when you got to come to say, is it going to be me or is it going to be them?
Absolutely.
And that's what I mean, it's very important about knowing your limitation. And like, again, with Dr. Fry, and I always feel this, you know how to enter in anything in a situation and exit. And, it used to be, well, it always has been, but we have became more aware of why, when you like in a professional position, why you're not moving forward, why you're not going, because you got somebody coattails and still trying to pull you back, access denied. When you have a plan in your life and you get so excited, I know I get excited, we want to bring a lot of people on. And then I realize everybody ain't on that time. Everybody ain't there for your same thing. Everybody don't see the vision that you're seeing. Everybody's not walking the way you're walking. And it's not that they're bad people, they're just not for you. They're just not for you. They're just not for you. And then I know there is a time and a place that where God will bring the people back in your life. But then you know how to handle them properly.
Absolutely. And you learn
And some people you let go because the other people say, oh, she ain't about this or she ain't about that. And that was the person that God put in your life to help you promote you to your next level. And then you came back and you're like, man, I'm in a mess. I've seen it so many times, and not that I'm perfect, but I've seen it so many times. I've seen it so many times with people like, God, that was your dog, that was your girl. What happened? What happened? Well, man, I got what's on, so whatever. And then you be like for example, and I'm gonna leave it right here. I have a good friend, a good client, and I'm always telling him, I said, man, you need to go back and get that girl. She know how to make red beans and rice, cornbread. She know how to cook. You know what I'm saying? And not that the person that he was trying to hook up with is a bad person, but if you know how to make, in my mind, if you know how to cook cornbread and red beans and rice and all that, and that means you know how to do the ingredients. You know what the ingredients go in the red beans and rice. then you know how to pull it in my mind, because I'm a business person. Then you know how to budget. So the red beans gonna come through. Right then, when somebody tell you, you know how to make red beans and rice, and then the man know how to take out the trash because he know what's in the house.
We went from
Because if
peas
the man
to
don't take out the
groceries
trash,
to
he don't know what's in
budgeting.
the house. So he don't know what's been spent.
Yes, ma'am.
So one correlated, so you gotta know what you're doing. You gotta know how much access your homeboy, your homegirl, your dog, how much you want it. When I go to work, nobody know, barely know my last name, barely know my middle name. You ain't gonna know it. You go on my Facebook page, look me up. I might be born in Missouri with an Oklahoma address. You're doing too much.
Protecting your peace, huh? Got it.
I'm protecting my peace. You're doing too much.
Yeah.
I be getting happy birthdays in May. My birthday in May. But is that what you, because you don't research me out?
Got
You
it.
don't research me out?
Got it. And those genuinely in your life knows the real Jessica.
Who right? Cause I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because I like to, you know, in a Christian way, I like to get down, you know what I'm saying? But you knowing too much. So you trying to figure out my social security number, you trying to figure out my address, you trying to figure out, you knowing too much.
Yeah.
But if I'm showing up as my authentic self, and I've been the same and it ain't gonna change, you know. And sometimes somebody will can dim your light. And we talk about people shushing you. What you shushing? Where are you shushing me for? Because it's a time and a place for everything. But if you don't express who you are, and people keep on backing you up in the corner, I want to say that for access denied, you're gonna come out like a wolf to people because you should have blocked things. You're gonna come out like you're the bad person all the time because you should have blocked. I know too much about you. So every time I'm looking at you, oh, you the person that went with Joe's man and all that. But that might not be the case. Joe's man was with Ann. You know what I'm saying? Joe's man was with Mary before he got with you. So, and I got you, I done sit here and built the case of who I thought you was because you too many people in your business.
There you go.
Learn how to, like Dr. Fry, and I keep on saying this because I love this about you. I don't know if I never told you, but I've been knowing you for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Is learn how to enter in and exit. Access denied. I know I took that over with it.
No, you took it, you ran with it, you tied a nice bow around it, and then you sent it back to me. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to touch on a couple points that you made. It's very important to have trust, which we both have said that when it comes to relationships. In order to be able to remain open, be your authentic self. Benefit of the doubt is something that I preach often because, as you said, if I'm coming to you as my authentic self and I always have been, you should know me.
Yeah.
You know, so if you heard about Mary and Joe and Susan and everybody else, and my name comes across that conversation, I would expect my genuine friends to say, "Oh, not Lakeisha."
Oh, no, no.
Or, okay, I'm about this conversation and I'm going to have a conversation with her myself.
Yeah.
Because again, nobody's perfect. But at the same time, your initial thought is not, oh, yeah, she's guilty. I'm going to give her benefit of the doubt before I jump onto the side of she's guilty, she's not right, she's not living right, whatever the case may be. I also wanted to mention, and I'm sorry, y'all, if it seems like I'm jumping around, but I also wanted to mention how you said, you know, people, you try to bring everybody on, but not everybody are where you're at. I 100% believe that people are in different phases in their life. I do have quite a few friends, close friends, and I feel that even if I haven't spoken with one in weeks, if I called out the blue and I needed them, that they would come running without question.
Right, yeah,
And they know they could get the same from me.
oh,
Uh,
absolutely,
and that is because we are at different phases in our life. There's
yeah,
things going on over there that's not going on over here. So I
right.
can't expect them to show up for me where I'm at and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we have the relationship, we have the history to where I know it doesn't mean that you're not my friend. I don't have to deny you access. I don't have to protect my peace from you. We're just at different levels in life right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Right.
mean? And so I recently, a couple weeks ago, just saw a friend. I last saw her 18 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we reconnected and hung out for a couple of days, and it was like the time never passed. We barely had full conversations between then and now. And we just reconnected, and the trust was still there. The ability to be free and open and honest was still there, and not feeling judged, and being able to have fun and just be our normal silly selves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what I'm talking about. And
Yeah.
because I'm a military brat, that's why I have quite a few friends that, those
Yeah.
relationships kind of takes place like that. And
And,
then lastly,
mhm.
I've learned from a friend that sometimes when you're coming to your friend with a situation,
Yeah.
with
Talk about it.
yep, yep.
Talk
Sometimes
about
you just
it.
need to ask, do you have the mental capacity to deal with my issues today?
Mhm.
Not to assume
Or to judge.
or to judge or any of those things. Sometimes it's just simple as I don't have the mental capacity to deal or to hear and to be a friend right now.
Mhm.
And sometimes we just have to be honest with that because again, everybody's going through different things in life, and it will not always be times where as soon as you get a phone call from somebody that you can just drop everything else that's going on in your life and tend to that one person. So I just put that out there as ways to condition or keep relationships going, and not getting to the place of you feeling like that person does not have your best interest or doesn't care. And then you end up protecting your peace or denying access to someone who genuinely just did not have the capacity to hear you out and to help you.
Yeah, because I have been in situations many times because I had allowed too much access.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that confidentially confiding in a person, and that person in their heart really don't want me to win. You know what I'm saying? At whatever, or 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 they want to be where I'm at as a level of not like I just knew that you was gonna fail in that. I knew that you were there, or I knew you can accomplish that, or I knew they were looking for a flaw in me. But if people really know me, like you saying, like Dr. Frog years, like a sister, more than a sister to me. But it's just like it's some hell I don't walk through many days. And if you want these shoes, you know what I'm saying? Come get them. Because I be asking God, did you give me the right size?
Yeah.
Because
I love that.
did you really give me
Were
this
these meant for
size
me?
then? Because you know I only fitted a 9.5, and you got me walking in this 10, and I'm struggling out here.
Yeah,
But you know that who you are. That's why you show confidence. Not
absolutely.
that you got it all together, and people will take that as, oh, you pious, you arrogant, all this kind of stuff, but you're really not. But then you have to look at the tone of the person when you start telling that, well, what else and what else? And then you start hearing your business in the street, or you hear it talking to somebody very close. I was talking to somebody very close to me, very, very close. And they said, I thought you were doing this and this. I'm like, well, who did you get that from?
Mm.
I'm over here calling Dr. Fry, like, girl, talk to me, because I got all this junk going on. And you like right there, that right there caused a gap. between that person and I friendship because the middle person was talking too much. So I had to learn how to cut on the block. I will block you in a minute now. I will block you for my peace. I will block you for my God. I will block you, you know what I'm saying, for my relationships. Like Dr. Fry was saying. Somebody come and tell me about Dr. Fry. I won't go back and tell Dr. Fry. I won't even change the conversation. When y'all get healed, cause and you know, find out who y'all are, come talk to me. Because if you're not saying like the Bible said, if you're not, I'm always going to come back to this. Whatever you believe, you can believe however you believe. But if you're not building, you're not edifying, you can correct in love, but you just at the water fountain or on the telephone, because you ain't talking about nothing. Because there ain't nothing coming out of it. It's nothing coming out of it. You're not coming with a plan and hey, we need to assist my sister, we need to assist my brother, we need to come to financially, emotionally, spiritually before them. I don't have that type of time. Just click, oh, oh, block, block. I don't want to. I don't want to hear. If I didn't, I don't want to hear. But now you have a corrective measure of love, and she over here dealing with Freddie or David, and David over here doing all the things. I don't care what David doing, but I'm gonna protect my friend. But it's you just want to
Yeah.
tear down because oh she's a doctor now or she's handling her household and her child and her Morgan is her child is doing well in school and you block. That's where I'm at in my life now. It's not that I don't want to be engaging, not that I don't want I desire friendship, but I'm very particular in this season of my life that if you're not coming here and we can't build each other up, or you always have a defense mechanism, or you already have something that you have not dealt with in your heart about yourself, you don't need me in the time because I'm after holiness. Now, will I pull you up? Absolutely. But you're not gonna make me drown. It's something that my pastor used to tell me a long time ago. He said, both of y'all out there drowning, somebody gonna have to come to shore to pull the other one out. Two people drowning don't make sense.
That's deep.
Again, two people drowning don't make sense. So that person that have blocked you for their peace, it's not like they don't love you. It's not like they don't want you to win. But right now you're contaminated because you don't know who you are. You don't know who your God is. That's it. And when you get whole, you can have a little bit more access. But right now, baby, I love you. I gotta block you. I mean, I want you to win, but I gotta block you. I want to talk to you, but I've gotta block you. When you're ready, I'm here for you. When you're ready to mend this relationship, I'm ready for friendship, business, whatever. But you still come with them type of games, those type of plays. You know what I'm saying? When you get in your 30s and your 40s, you really like, I don't have, that's old. We don't have that type of time. So you gotta say access denied. Unapologetic for truth.
That's a way to close it off. Well, all right. We appreciate you all listening. Hopefully, you've enjoyed our podcast so far. This is episode 3. We are going to come back for the next episode and bring in a young mind's perspective regarding access denied. Again, this is something that's important for youth to learn early on, not to immaturely block everybody in their lives or not think through relationships or not know how to handle conflict and automatically block people, because I see that in the young generation now. But to be able to protect their peace because they're very sensitive
Mhm.
emotionally, mentally, and something as simple as um, allowing someone to hang in your energy too long
Mhm.
and they are only contributing negativity.
Mhm.
It really makes a difference in maturity and mindset and how that young person moves forward in life. All right, so we coincidentally found somebody from Gen Z to join the conversation and talk about their perspective of access denied. So, this is a teenager who, of course, succumbs to peer pressure and the stressors of friendships and relationships with family, and others that they encounter at school or within the home. And so we thought it was important to get her perspective on the conversation. So I'm gonna let you take it, Jessica.
Today we have Morgan. Morgan, with access denied, we talked about what the limits of you allowing a person in your personal space, in your life, in your decision making, words from school, where your mother done told you, where your father done told you, peers and the pressure that you feel behind of those decisions, and allowing that access. Because sometimes we feel as adults, if I give you too much access in my life, you derail my peace. And that's something that me and Dr. Fry have talked about, protecting our peace. And I'm like, I'm protecting everything. I'm protecting my money. I'm protecting my God, my prayer. I'm protecting everything. And I'm the Black queen. I didn't coin it, but believe me, I got a diploma for it. Okay. So, and it's not like a value like, oh, I don't want to talk to nobody. I just came in point in my life to say, you're just not ready for me, or we going on two different direction, or let me give you your space right now, and we'll come back and get this relationship later. So ask you as a Gen
Z?
okay? Because I don't know now, is Gen Z, Y, F, W, Q, R, and X.
Alpha, beta, sigma.
All the alphabets. So if I'm gonna ask you this question, we'll play a little game to make it more useful.
Okay.
If your mother, Dr. Lakeisha Fry, I told her own it, she worked hard for it, asked you and told you, okay, this is our plan, this is our strategy for you to go to school. But then, okay, you going to Harvard, NYU, New York University. But then somebody said, oh, you need to go to Marcella, you need to go to California, you need to go here. And they came and persuade you to the point of belief that they're right and your mother with the plan that y'all had for the last 4 years. How do you figure out what you need to do and the limitations that when you go back in a conversation with them, what do you say? That's what I guess I'm trying to say. What do you say? How much access you gonna give them in the beginning of your decision making about your college life or where you're going from now? And then when they bring you evidence-based material, what do you do?
That's actually a perfect scenario because that's like a very real life like conversation I've had with a couple of my friends.
Oh, okay.
I'd say especially when it comes to like really big decisions in my life, like college, that's one thing that it's like that's a decision for me to make because that paves my path for everything else I do after. Like that's the beginning of my adulthood is where I decide to go to college. And specifically with my mom, like she's the main person. If she told me genuinely, like, I don't think you should go to NYU, she'd be like the only person who I'd be like, okay, maybe I shouldn't go to NYU. But if someone like my friend even, she asked me, she was like, why do you want to go? Well, in ninth grade, I really want to go to Harvard more than NYU. And she was like, why do you want to go to Harvard when you go to like a school closer, like any other school? And I was like, why wouldn't I? Like if someone asks me what college I want to go to, I'm open to saying I want to go to NYU. Like NYU is my top school. And if they ask me why, I'm open to telling them like the reasons I
But
don't.
Morgan, I don't think you know what you're talking about. NYU is not the best school. I'm being,
Mhm.
and as your best friend, I think that you're making the wrong decision. I think that is more so you listen to your mom. I'm talking about because you've been talking about some, some conversation that have not been as easy talking to your mom. So now you have gave a friend, I'm not saying a friend of me, a friend, access to kind of persuade you. Have you been in that decision where your mom have said, or even you, don't have to be your mom, you know, where y'all at Gen Z, y'all come out with your own mind. You know what I'm saying? That's why I have to. It's a long story anyway. But look, don't be shading Dr. Fry. But anyway, I see
I told
it.
y'all I had it in
We're out
me.
here now. Look, but I'm just saying, if you don't give me access to a scenario in your personal life, boyfriend, well, friend boy, or whatever you want to do, how will you navigate that conversation? Because I know your pitfalls. I know your weakness. So I'm fooling with your head because I'm unsure. How do you navigate that conversation with that person who you don't give too much access to?
Um, Honestly, it's very like hard to be like, oh, because initially, like anyone would want to be like, oh yeah, I'd stand up for myself and this and the third. But like realistically, I may teeter the line where I would be like, oh, like okay, maybe they have a point, maybe they don't. Like it definitely like knocked me off of my like persuade like my own opinion a little. But that's also where like for me, like if which I've been like better with recently, like if I'm going through something with a friend or something, that's where I like confide in my mom. Because I'll be like, hey, so this happened with this person. Like, I don't know what to do. Or like I'll be like, hey, this happened, this is how I handle it. And she'll be like, yeah. And she'll like kind of open um my perspective when
Yeah.
it comes to friendships and things because she's gone
Mhm.
through a lot more of them, a lot more different types of them with a lot more different people. So like
Mhm.
that's like one of those things where like y- I confide in someone who has more wisdom in that because I know that like I can be like persuaded to go either, especially if it's someone I trust. Like
Mhm.
if it's a I'm not gonna say a random person, but like a classmate of mine who I'm not friends with, like I don't actively hang out with them or anything, I'm more likely gonna be like, well, that's your opinion. Like that doesn't have really much to do with me. We know each other through class and that's it. Like I'm not trusting anything any opinion you have on my life because you know nothing about me. But for like someone who has like again like you were saying like for speaking from like my best friend's perspective, then that's where it gets more complicated and I have to be like, hey mom, or like even with myself I have to be is like is that really what you want or is that what other people want for you and things like that. And that's even like with like family too, like because my dad wants me to go to college like at Tulane. It's like is that what I want or is that what he wants for me, you know? So it's like all those things.
Yeah, access denied. But inside joke, people. Inside joke, access denied.
Now, I want to add that a lot of times Morgan will come to me with issues or needing me to help her think through situations. And I always give her different perspectives and I try to keep my opinion out of it. Now, if it's mom, my friends want to, go and try to get fake IDs and get into this club, then absolutely not. But if it's something where it doesn't affect my decision making as a parent, I try to give her different perspectives and allow her to make her own decision.
Mhm.
But what I do stress to Morgan is make sure it's your choice.
Mhm.
Do not let peer pressure or persuasion push you one way or another. You use logic.
Mhm.
A lot of times I feel kids do not use a lot of logic because a lot of times with Morgan, I will lay logic on the table. I will not even unpack it for her. I'll just lay out logical pieces
Mhm.
and have her, think about all of that I've laid out for her and then let her think through it herself and then give her a little help if she needs it. But a lot of times I do feel I have to coach myself like, okay, Keish, this is not your decision. This is Morgan's. Like, this is something that she can learn from. Let her decide.
And I like what you're saying. So, Margaret, I'm gonna put a spin on this, and I'm gonna go back to Keisha. Is that how do you feel when you are denied access?
Me?
When you're denied access, you want to get in, you want to know, you want to be a part, And for the greater good, I don't want to say that just yet. But you want access, and you've been denied access to whatever event, person, place, thing, or whatever situation. And how do Gen Zs, as you know, or even yourself personally, when you denied access?
For myself, when I will say like even just like a couple years ago, like say from freshman year of high school to like now, like 2 years ago, it definitely would have been more like a like taken personal thing where it's like, oh, then that means you have some feelings about me, or like you feel this, that, and a third, and like a bunch of non like solid reasoning behind it.
Mm.
And that I think that also comes from like associating access being denied with people liking you, or and not like people having boundaries with you, which are like two completely different things. And I've learned too that like if someone likes you, then they'll set boundaries with you because they want to be able to have a relationship with you. So like now I'm like way better with that. Like even because I have a friend of mine, she's a senior, and she was going through some stuff with like just like school like gossip and things like that. And like she was very closed off for a minute because of that, because people were like constantly spreading things about her, and she was also closed off to me about that. But like I realized I was like, it's not because of me, it's because of circumstances. Like
Mhm,
people don't, and they also don't owe me anything.
mhm,
Like that's another thing. When I was younger, I think I thought a lot of people owed me, like just because we're friends, you owe me information about yourself. But I don't like giving information about myself. So
mhm.
like I can't expect other people to want to give information that I don't want to give.
I think from a team perspective, that needs to be even more aware that when you deny access, simply sometimes it just God just protecting you. Some things you just need to not even be a part. You know what I'm saying? And then if you go back, like you said, hindsight, as a team, man, I'm glad I missed that boat. You know what I'm saying? Man, I'm glad I missed that relationship. Man, I'm glad that, you know what I'm saying, I showed up for myself. I showed up for my class. I showed up making, honor roll. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad, so I appreciate that perspective of maturity, because that's what I heard you had a ladder of maturity happen. Like, hey, maybe I don't need to, you know what I'm saying? I don't need to skip class. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that asset, oh, you're not part of the clique, but unfortunately, and I like to not to bring a weight to this, a lot of times, a lot of people have came and got with a group of people, made decisions, and that they had too much access and knew their weak point, and got them to do things as youth and adolescents that they shouldn't have. Oh, I know she'll do this because I know that. So we have to learn our boundaries as adults, as youth, on a professional level. I'm still learning because I used to be like an open book, because like I don't have time to be lying, but then you trying to peek me out. You know what I'm saying? You trying to figure me out to see where you can have your unhealed self, unfortunately, can tear me apart because you don't want to do the work. As we talked about last week, do the homework. You trying to tear me apart and say that I can't do the job, or I can't do this, I can't, because your unhealed self, because you don't want to do the work. I don't gave you too much access to me. Dr. Fry, you have anything to add?
Oh, earlier I was gonna touch on something Morgan said, where I try to find opportunities to condition her to respect people's boundaries.
Mhm.
Because I knew information about her friend that she did not know, but she was not on speaking terms with her friend. And she tried to get that information out of me, and I didn't feel it was my place to share, because any other time Morgan knows before I do. So I found that I picked up on the fact that, well, you don't know this already, why not? And once I
Mhm.
learned, oh, we're not really speaking right now, well, it's not my place to share that information then.
Mhm.
You need to go and talk to your friend if you would like that information. So
Mhm.
that was just piggybacking on off of something that she was saying already.
Mhm.
Um, And then something you said as well, Jessica, I am still struggling with giving too much in relationships.
Mhm.
And I find myself giving in the beginning, and then I have to backtrack, and then feelings are hurt, and then boundaries are coming up too late, and then access is being denied, but it's a struggle. Absolutely. It's a struggle maintaining that barrier because so much was already given. So it makes it more difficult to pull it back and stand your ground, and it creates more chaos and stress. So I wanted to touch on that too.
And
That
then the
you're
other
absolutely
person,
right.
and then the other person feel like you rejected them, but you
Right.
protected them. You protecting that your peace. You protecting them because I gave you too much in the
Absolutely.
beginning.
Absolutely.
I gave you too much. I gave you. It's not. I gave you
Yeah,
too
absolutely.
much. Too much. And now I'm like, God, what is it? And when God started telling you to pull out or pull from, He don't do it always nice.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? He don't do it always nice. So, when we'll talk about a God plan and a God thing, another topic, but
He has his ways, and he has a way of making an entrance and an exit
he should stop talking. No, I won't talk to
and
him.
leaving a lasting impression. So you're gonna think 2, 3, 4
Oh,
times before you try that again.
oh,
But another topic for another time because we're probably
yes,
over.
yeah.
Well,
Okay,
thank you to our special guest. Isn't she beautiful? Look just like
yeah.
mama. She get it from a mama.
Yes, she
All right,
does.
y'all.
Or
Unapologetically for truths. And we will see you all again with our next week's topic. See you then.
don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Jazzy says hi, by the way.
All right. All right.